How are you now? We are moving on in First Samuel series, and today we are doing chapter 19, and I'll read it. Samuel told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. But Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, "My father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I'll speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out." Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father and said to him, "Let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you, and what he has done has benefited you greatly. He took his life in his hands when he killed the Philistine. The Lord won a great victory for you, for all Israel, and you saw it and were glad. Why then would you do wrong to an innocent man like David by killing him for no reason?" So listen to Jonathan and took this oath: "As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death." So Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation. He brought him to Saul, and David was with Saul as before. Once more war broke out, and David went out and fought the Philistines. He struck them with such force that they fled before him. But an evil spirit from the Lord came on Saul as he was sitting in his house with his spear in his hand while David was playing the lyre. Saul tried to pin him to the wall with his spear, but David eluded him as Saul drove the spear into the wall. That night David made good his escape. Saul sent men to David's house to watch it and kill him in the morning. But Michal, David's wife, warned him, "If you don't run for your life tonight, tomorrow you'll be killed." So Michal let David down through the window, and he fled and escaped. Then Michal took an idol and laid it on the bed, covering it with a garment and putting some goat hair in the head. When Saul sent the men to capture David, Michal said, "He is ill." Then Saul sent the men back to see David and told them, "Bring him up to me in his bed, so that I may kill him." But when the men entered, there was the idol in the bed, and at the head was some goat's hair. Saul said to Michal, "Why did you deceive me like this and send my enemy away so that he escaped?" Michal told him, "He said to me, 'Let me get away. Why should I kill you?'" When David had fled and made his escape, he went to Samuel at Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there. Word came to Saul, "David is in Naioth at Ramah." So he sent men to capture him. But when they saw a group of prophets prophesying with Samuel standing there as their leader, the Spirit of God came on Samuel's men, and they also prophesied. Saul was told about it, and he sent more men, and they prophesied too. Saul sent men a third time, and they also prophesied. Finally, he himself left for Ramah and went to the great cistern at Seku. And he asked, "Where are Samuel and David?" "Over at Naioth at Ramah," they said. So Saul went to Naioth at Ramah. But the Spirit of God came even on him, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth. He stripped off his garments, and he too prophesied in Samuel's presence. He lay naked all that day and all that night. That is why people say, "Is Saul also among the prophets?" Very dramatic chapter. And here we are looking at chapter 19. Looking back at chapter 18, we saw that David pretty much had the heart of the entire nation. The ladies were singing his praises literally. And we all know that culture is shaped by music. So if his name was on the lips and the tongues of women, then it meant he was becoming famous and popular. And Saul didn't like that. Not only that, not only did they know that he was stronger than Saul, who was a reigning king, having slain tens of thousands, and Saul only thousands, his children, Saul's children, Jonathan and Michal, were in love with David, literally, both of them. And we see Saul getting into a rage about this, an insecure rage, and he's wondering, what do I do? What do I do? And he decides to plot. And that's what people do. Well, earthly, worldly, fleshly people do when they want to do some payback. And in this case, he plots on two levels. At the home front, he decides to give his daughter the firstborn at first. I believe it was Merab. And Merab, apparently, David does not want to quite get into marriage so quickly, and he looks at it as a very serious matter, and so he refrains. But then Michal is in love with him, and so gives her over, saying that she would be a snare to him. It was a trap marriage. In his sight, it wasn't a marriage for love or as a destiny by God. He wanted it to be a manipulative action. It was a tool in his hands to manipulate David through his own daughter. So then they get married, and then there's another side to it. He promotes David to become head of thousands, to lead thousands of soldiers, 1,000 soldiers into battle. He makes him a general. And why does he make him a general? He reasoned that the Philistines would kill him in battle. Because David led them, and being at the forefront, he thought the Philistines would do the dirty work for him and kill him. Sound familiar? That's the same tactic David used on Uriah, or Uriah. Anyway, we see a very messed up Saul at this point. It's almost as if he's going crazy. In chapter 19, he's now resorted to killing David himself, throwing a spear at him, and David eluded it as the spear drove into the wall. Look at that force, the anger. I don't think it was just a cardboard wall. And it drove in. The Lord won great victory for all Israel. And Jonathan tells Saul that much, that the Lord won great victory. Why then would you want to kill an innocent man? And Saul, as if it's in his right mind now, he actually says, I will make this vow, and he makes this vow that as long as the Lord lives, I will not kill David. As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death, it says. But he wants to kill him. So what was going on? He's been controlled by a spirit from the Lord. It says that in verse 9, an evil spirit from the Lord came on to Saul as he was sitting in his house. So he might have had his lucid moment when he was speaking to Jonathan. But as soon as this evil spirit came on him, he was totally overcome by it and controlled by it. And with the spear in his hand, he attempts to kill David by launching it against him. Remember, David is still serving Saul in the army. And David's wife, Michal, who had been set up as a trap for him, ironically becomes his savior. And she tells on her own father, and she says, If you don't run for your life tonight, tomorrow you'll be killed. Now David takes it seriously, and they let Michal lets David down through the window. But what's interesting is that Saul relentlessly pursues David, even to ransacking and searching his own home in the bedroom. And the first time the men are courteous enough and they allow Michal to explain where he is. But the second time, because he's enraged, he said, bring him in his bed that I may kill him. And Michal gets an idol. Where did she get the idol from? Was Michal worshipping idols? Did Saul have a history with worshipping idols? So we get to see a family entangled with idolatry. David certainly was not worshipping an idol. Michal got the idol. Was it part of the family? Did it run in the family to worship idols? When David had fled and made his escape, he went to Ramah to Samuel. After all, Samuel anointed him as king, and only the two of them probably still believed that he was supposed to be king. And Samuel protectively takes him to a place called Naioth, where clearly the presence of the Lord was, because everybody who approached that place began to prophesy. God uses the foolish things, the foolish things, to dumbfold the wise. And Saul, thinks that this man, they just keep getting trapped by this Samuel fellow. I'll go there myself. Not knowing that even he was no match to God. And the Spirit of the Lord fell upon him, and he began to prophesy, and he lay naked all day and all night. And thus the Lord protected David, using the most unexpected ways. The foolish thing dumbfolded the wise, and it seemed foolish. Well, David is in a mess right now, and he knows it, and he's seeking a way out, and we're going to see what happens in the next chapter.